It's unlisted. It's not. So hi everyone. Let's remove our little slides. Okay, so we'll be doing this between Camila and I. We're going to introduce the topic first, and then I mean we can have a little brainstorm session. It's kind of our first time talking about mindful parenting, and so I think it's going to be an interesting topic because let's just start basically mindful parenting. It's probably seen differently by different people, and the Pranic family is really coming from a Pranic living approach. So it's like definitely not like the general masses, let's say, but I think there's some good points. So first, I personally, I am not a parent. That's a big problem maybe for this circle, but I have been around kids a lot, and especially during COVID, I was like spending my whole time with the family, uh, with like two kids, like 3 years old and 4 years old, I think. And so I got to experience also like this age. I also experienced like the teens age with like some of my cousin I was living with. Anyway, I think you can introduce yourself to Camila after, or maybe now. That's just my situation, but I have a perspective about mindful parenting that comes from actually like the fact that I'm not necessarily a parent, but I do consider myself a parent, not of my own children, but of like everyone. But this is another approach. Like, yeah.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah, I'll tell you more about it because for me, there is not much difference between some of my path and the path of parents, but I'll tell you more after you introduce. You just tell yourself, like, explain your situation and with kids and everything.
Yep. So yes, you know, I'm a parent. I have 3 children. I've raised my children since I was very young, basically. So over time, I have learned, how to interact with them. As a child, I could actually, learn how to interact with them. But it says itself, mindful parenting, mindful parenting, meaning, you're just mindful with what you do. And I have learned one important thing is that children don't do what you tell them to do, even though they may do it, but it's not, they don't learn that way. They do what you do, so being, your authentic self around them is, what I really like to talk about mostly, how we as a parents can be mindful with the things that we do, how we choose, how we eat, how we hold ourselves, the things that we talk about, things that we do, all of those kind of things that we can do around the child, So those are the things that I would like to tap into, and, how to teach a child in general, because we think we have to do it in the traditional way, where this is wrong, this is right, this is that. So I want to change that frame in a way where nothing is wrong and right. This is how I do it because of this, and this is how I do it because of that. So those kind of like teachings and talks would benefit every parent, because we're always questioning, like, what's going on? What can I do with my child? How can I interact with my child? How do I also, influence my child in a healthier way, without forcing them? So those are questions that parents have all the time. And it would be nice to just have a group where we come together, where they can ask questions, where we can answer. And, when it comes to a person like you, Fabi, who's not a parent, I believe that you can see from a different eye, where parents mostly carry a lot of guilt. You can be a person who can see the things that we see without the guilt, for example, and point out stuff. For example, hey, if I want my child is doing something, maybe I may feel like anxious about it, and you don't see that, so that also helps parents to recognize, like, okay, hey, I'm too anxious, I'm too worried, I'm too this, I shouldn't be.
Let's go into that, because you mentioned me, so I'm like, you know what? Let me tell you my story that might relate, because I think it has to do with the image we create of the children in our minds. But I'll say this. When we're born, even as a kid, like, we don't really create so much fantasies in our mind until like a certain age. We might just explore the world, like, almost as it is. And then we start having the mind, which starts creating images and past and present and future and stories and agendas and all of that. And we just all end up creating an image of something, like an image, and even an image of an image. So sometimes we create an image of ourselves, actually, that's not ourselves. And so when that image that we created gets, like, criticized, we get hurt. And the same happens when you are a parent. A kid is born, and now it's not just a thought, it's an actual other little person. So whatever image of yourself that you might have had as a thought is now a little person. So that's the same thing as like someone having an image of themselves. So why I'm saying this is because we're talking about mindfulness, and I did not come to spirituality or to pranic living just like that. I didn't. Like, and my dad reminded me of that too. Something really pushed me, like, I got HIV. And when I got HIV, or when someone has cancer, or someone has like a stroke, there's often, this is what happened. This is when you have like a spiritual realization. Like a lot of people, when they come to such an extreme thing, it pushes them to go toward like spirituality. A lot of the people that have those big disease. So my point is this: becoming a parent, or being a parent, is actually also the exact same thing. It's horrible to say that.
It is
Maybe
true.
but it's like it's the same thing as it's a trigger for spiritual realization. So, but this is what happened. Like, for example, if you go into a spiritual experience, whether it is like whatever with the psychedelics, or if you're doing this with ashrams, or if you're doing this with whatever manner, you come close to some kind of spiritual realization. Every time, if you surrender yourself, if you let go of who you think you are, the image you created of yourself, if you let go of that, you'll have a beautiful, aware experience. But if you resist that, that will create a lot more difficulties. So yeah, it's really, I mean, I don't think it's too far away what I'm trying to explain.
No, I really understand where you're coming from, Fabi, because
it's a way of
being
faith.
a parent, being a parent, it comes with a lot of guilt. It comes with a lot of pain. It comes with a lot of responsibilities. It comes with a lot of heaviness. People think like, oh, having children is like, joyful thing to just, it comes with something that you have never had. You know how difficult it is to just have a responsibility of oneself. Imagine having 3 outside of yourself. three of you outside of yourself that you need to think of the same way. You need to, you want to direct them. You want them to become this. You want them to be this. You want them, so it's a heavy load on the parent.
Well, let's
And
say, I'm telling you, I think so. My perspective on that is that that's because resistance was created.
mhm,
Like basically, the parent, in my opinion, has not learned to let go
exactly,
completely of himself.
exactly,
Like, for
exactly.
example, my father, when I was a kid, he kind of like helped me out with the magic because I was a magician. And some
Mhm,
parents do that, they see the kids as like having a little passion, and then they totally like go with the flow and really help the kid. And and my dad told me that in the process of doing that and helping your kid, he disappeared. Like, he completely disappeared. He became the ghost of me, the ghost of his children, his own
mhm,
ghost in a way.
mhm, mhm.
So I think it's what I'm saying is that it's really like becoming a parent is a way to like surrender.
It is a way to surrender, but at the same time, you don't have to lose yourself in something, but you can balance. You can balance that. There are a lot of parents that have lost themselves also in the parenting process,
Okay.
and they don't have any authority of themselves, like they don't have any identity of themselves, because now that they become the role. But you need to remember that you are not the role, and you are actually, you have these children is a different, you just assisting them. They are on their own. They are their self, but you are assisting them. That's how I see the parenting. The people need to realize that. And then also, as a parent, I know a lot of parents live with a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of things that they think like, okay, we have to accomplish this, and you have to always. But then they stop. They forget that they're just a human. You don't have to do all of that, you know? So there are things that parents don't talk about, because sometimes you don't even want to be a parent. You want to resign, but you can't. But no mother or no father will say, like, oh, I feel like resigning from being a father. I feel resigning from being a mother. Nobody would say that, because once they say it, they feel guilt that they said something towards their child that like they don't want them. But it's just that you're losing yourself. You don't know what to do, and you don't want the job, and this you can't resign from being a parent. It doesn't work like that. It would always forever eat you up otherwise. So it's very important to talk about those topics, that you become a guilt-free parent and you are fine, and
But I
everything
think
you
it
are
has to
feeling, it's
do,
fine.
in my opinion, because I don't know exactly how we're gonna handle those sessions with like brainstorming with more parents. I think the idea is like, for me, what I was bringing up is that being a parent is probably one of the most spiritual experience you can have if you allow yourself to have it. And if you
Mm-hmm.
resist it, it's going to be a problem. So
Exactly.
if you allow yourself to face the most spiritual experience, actually, because what you're doing is when you're facing the kid, you're facing Mother Earth, which
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
completely acting heretical sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that is the game. It's like Mother Earth is forcing you to be present, to be now here with the
Yeah.
kid. Like for me, when
Yeah.
I was with those, like, 3-year-old and 4-year-old I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. How you cannot not be present.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you know how much resistance you need to put to like actually go away from them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like,
Mm.
you're facing the most spiritual experience, like
It is.
the most difficult spiritual practice. You have
Yeah.
to be present with them.
Yeah. Children are present. They are like,
Oh,
especially when they're small, they are very present. While they're thinking about that little thing moving there, a grown-up will think about all kind of stuff. Their mind is somewhere else, while the child's mind is always there, here and now. They are very present. But then, all these responsibilities and people thinking that parenting, the way we think parenting is what's distorting us. We should
is
we
what?
should actually learn from the child.
No, actually, so yeah, so well, I'll take one step back again, just on the
Yeah.
topic I was saying. When I mean it's the most spiritual experience you can have, if you accept it as a parent, that means your job, and maybe those mindful sessions we're gonna have together have nothing to do with us telling you, oh, this is the little tip you can do with your kid. Oh, this is
Hmm.
a little tip. No, if it's a spiritual experience, you are the student, not your children. And
Hmm.
you
That's true.
have to like actually, when you're facing Mother Earth, it's not Mother Earth can take care of those children. When you're facing Mother Earth, it's you that you're facing, and so it's the whole question. And so those doubts, those guilt, like I think they are coming up because that's the most the strongest experience spiritually, is to face those children, and everything will just naturally come out. You have to
Yeah.
face yourself, you have to work on yourself. So
Yeah.
I think for me, mindful parenting, I'm not sure, but it would be more interesting if we were to focus more on like what we're doing to continuously like be the best version, surrender, let go. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, instead
I
of
know what
like
you're on
saying
to. I like it.
this is what the kids needs to do. Because
Hmm.
like you said at the beginning, you were saying it's really about being yourself
Hmm.
around them, and they'll
Yeah.
see that. And
Yeah.
so all parents might benefit better by working on themselves.
It is only that you have to work on yourself only. Like, let's say, like when you're going through this, spiritual awakening or whatever you're going through, you go back to your child self when you were little,
Uh,
your little Fabi, you go back there and everything will you cough up until you come to a point that you wouldn't want to change anything of your experience, anything. So when it comes to the parents too, they have to sit with themselves and sit with the content of being a parent, the guilt, the shame, and everything that they have within themselves as a parent. All of that needs to cough up. They have to become one with it. They have to accept it. They have to let go. They have to surrender. And then only that way can you be you around your child,
yeah,
respecting the child being a child, respecting yourself being a parent, respecting yourself that it's okay to feel this way, it's okay to not feel this way. All of that is an acceptance process, right? So we don't normally do it for the parents, Somebody may go through, a spiritual awakening and all of that, and then have the guilt of being a parent, what they have done, how the choices that they have made, how they have raised their child. All of that kind of stuff can be in here, So it's all about working with oneself. So on this gatherings, what we can do is, just like an AA kind of groups, alcohol addiction kind of, the addiction kind of groups that
yeah,
people come
yeah, of course,
together,
yeah.
because
Mhm.
it's a mind thing and it's same thing, you know.
Yeah.
So if
So I think we
everybody
want to
is
hear
same thing.
everybody maybe like stories,
Hmm.
and if we're doing this as a circle, it might be good that we don't maybe try to give advice
No, we don't
to.
we don't need to get advice, but it's just like confessions
Yes,
mostly.
exactly. And naturally, like the silence of everybody or the group together here
Mhm.
can just heal whatever. I mean, it's just gonna
Exactly.
reveal the problem naturally without needing to like point
Exactly.
at anything. Yeah.
So, for example, on AA clubs, they come together like, "Hey, my name is this, this, this. This is my confession. Hey, my name is this, this, this. This is my confession. This is how I'm feeling today." So we can sometimes go around, maybe, whoever that wants to say up what they want to say. Maybe we can have like a speaker sometimes. Some people can speak about like their week and how they feel, as a parent, and then maybe someone else can relate to it. Maybe I can speak about, being a parent, how that feels, and what I have been through, for example, and somebody else may relate to it. And then it makes
I
them
do want
feel
to
like
hear some stories.
it's
I'm not
it's
sure I'm gonna
it's
wait until next week, but maybe we can also have like a little bit of an exercise that all the group of parents will come here, will have like, to try.
meditation.
yeah, to try for the week, and then we can catch up, see how did it go, whatever.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be great, really. You know, let's what people don't understand is that children really like stability. They really like structure. They really like, things that you are structured, they like those kind of stuff. That when they see you doing stuff, they really it makes them feel comfortable. It makes them feel safe. But we think we have to do for them. No, they want to see you safe. They want to see you happy.
So it's really beautiful because like the kid is a perfect reflection, and
Hmm.
any kind of resistance that the parent might have is like totally toward oneself, nothing to do with
Yes,
the children.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So it's like it's perfect. It goes really well with Pranic Family because like our goal is really that. It's like that everybody feels more joyful and free as an individual, and naturally everyone around you will feel it. It's just a vibe.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what kind of role you're taking on this planet, whether it is a parent, whether it is, non-parent. We all have relationship with people. And
Mm.
in every relationship, you should be feeling free and joyful, you
Yeah.
know.
And take off the mask.
Exactly.
What's up?
Exactly. You should feel
What
safe.
what's up, Valentina? If you want to like talk or like ask question, whatever, like we know it's our parent gathering, so we're starting off.
Yeah, I was very surprised because my mother-in-law has a kids this weekend, and I was sitting on because I was so if Daniel doesn't know, so my husband passed away, and like, and he was the one who did most of the work with kids because I was studying at school, and
Mhm.
he was taking kids for 6 hours, like he went with them to trampoline park, to the park, blah blah blah, to different places for 6 hours, and then after school, and then they coming back, and I basically enjoy my life. And now when he passed away, it's like I was like a little bit in shock how I'm gonna like do everything by myself. Like I myself like a baby that learning a lot of stuff, like learning how to do a business, learning how to drive on the interstate. Like it's so many things that he did and I didn't do. So,
Mhm.
and I kind of a little bit in shock because I have to come out with a strategy for the next 10 years, because I will be with my kids for the next 10 years. So I need to come out with a plan or kind of strategy where I'm gonna live for the next 10 years, what they're gonna do, kind of at least a little bit idea how I can see it for the next 10 years, because I'm gonna bring them up for the next 10 years. Like for the best from all resources what I have, all little resources, I need to make something creative, the best out of it,
You know what
So
that is?
what?
It's you working on you. What
Yes,
makes you happy. They will be happy when they see you happy and when you do you.
yes, I know, but at the same time, if I do too much me, like say if I study too much music, that they gonna get crazy behind my back and they start to fight. So what's actually was happening, I didn't know that you guys have this workshop. I think like, okay, I open a parenting book, and it's actually super cool parenting book. It's called Siblings Rival, how to say?
Okay.
Rivalry.
Arrival?
So
Arrival?
yes, kind of like how handle their fighting together mindfully.
Mm.
Yeah, and they say, Camila, basically the same approach you say, like you have to be more acceptable about their fighting, like don't try and to be too much stressed out about fighting. Let them figure out some things between each other.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes. So like more acceptance of what is going on, you know, kind of that stuff.
Yeah.
More acceptance that nobody's ideal, the kids can be different, like that they should accept each other difference, right? Treat them not equally, but more uniquely. Like most parents are trying to treat equally, like, but but equal is less. You should try to treat them uniquely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yes, and it was amazing because like I was like, oh, I thought like, oh, okay, suddenly, finally, I'm without the kids. I can read a parent book, be prepared for the next thing to deal with it. And suddenly pop up a notification that is like parenting workshop or whatnot. I was like, wow, what is synchronicity? No, I press it right away. And I always have with Fabi a lot of synchronicities. So it's amazing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, definitely. I mean, it's like, yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I even didn't know you all guys do it, and I think that's great. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I think
very
part
important.
of our plan with the Pranic Family is to help, like, not. I mean, basically, our plan is to help a next generation to be like more healthy and joyful. So, like, if you think about it, I mean, it's the best is to like help ourselves and the parents first. So that way that we can inspire for that. And then naturally, I think what we could do eventually is, because we have those nature weekend, like we're going to start doing in Florida, where the parents can also come with their kids. And that might be a like intergenerational thing, you know, where it could be very interesting or fun to like be barefoot with your kids somewhere in nature.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's just, you know, to be honest, I forgot what I was going to say. I forgot what I was going to say. But it's all about, you know, connecting with yourself. Really, you know, connect with yourself and accept yourself. And it's, and yes, this is what I was going to say. If we are going to help the next generation, the next generation is the younger. You know, instead of starting from 18, we can start with the parents. The parents are the ones that has the small ones. So if you help things from, you know, we have to start from the root, right? Meaning the parents, if they are in aligned with themselves, then they will align their children as well. You know,
yeah. So
when those children,
in the end, we're not saying that we're not trying to change the kids themselves. They're perfect creation. We're working on ourselves, and especially young parents or any parents who's the first kids or even two kids fighting. It's okay, but
it's absolutely
us
fine.
that's working.
Yeah. So it's working on the parents. So when the parents is aligned, because the child is doing what the parents is doing. They do what they see. So if you are aligned with yourself, your child would just look at you and then pick whatever resonates with them. Even let's say, like, if you plan your child to become something and you collect, you know, college money and this, and then when they get to a certain age, they have the choice. They choose to be whatever, and you collected money and you stressed about all of this all their life, and then at the end of the day, they have the choice to do whatever they want. So you need to give them the choice from the beginning by letting them see you. Whatever you want them to become, you have to be.
And I think, I mean, I know it might be a very weird topic to say that, but I think maybe we're also like switched a new year right now. It's 2023. Supposedly it's a new year. Like maybe a lot of parents are like also like too much in the future, like always kind of projecting their kids later.
Exactly.
And what if your kid dies tomorrow? Like, why not being with the kid and his dreams now, instead of trying to get him to be something that he's not?
The only way you can make your child to become anything in the future too is for you to be that future now. You can't make them become anything. You have to be that. They have to see it in the environment. You know, whatever you become is in your environment. So if the child is in one environment and in your thought you want them to be somewhere else, it's not going to work, because the environment and your thought, it's not going to work. It's not matching. So you have to create the environment you want them to become. You want them to be peaceful, individuals out in the world, that can become, the change that you want. You need to become that change. You need to become that
align.
change.
Just like you were saying, basically what we're talking about is realigning and maybe just trying to bring those projections that we have, either future, like either projections that we have in the future, but it could also be like an image. I know, because for example, with my mother, is what's happening, is like sometimes parents hold images of like the past about their children, and they don't let go of it. And the kid is already, the image of the kid we had is already gone. That image is dead already. And it's
a lot of parents do that.
Yeah.
A lot of parents do that. But that's also being stuck, right?
Yeah.
That's why we need to learn how to be in the current moment, in the now. That's why you can't get anxious about what's going to happen with your child. If you already know what's happening right now, you won't be worrying about tomorrow, because tomorrow is not there. It's not going to come. It's the now that matters.
Yeah, so I guess some of the practice we can maybe come up with is practices when it comes to
being present,
like letting go of those projections, those images, those ideas and beliefs we have that
exactly. That's
I have to come up
exactly
with a plan.
Yeah, and it's also a very interesting thing that, like, basically the society, not even parents, sometimes even society, trying to put labels to your kids. Like, I recently I was talking to one Russian girl who lives here, and she suddenly started to attack me that my kids acting like a brats, or how they call it, and all kind of stuff. And she's like, "You're raising sick kids," and she even cannot. She even doesn't breastfeed her child, no, one single day. And she said me that I'm raising sick kids because they behave bad. So and it's very important, and I think it's a little bit tricky to take away those labels from your children and kind of project them and on them another label to put in their head that they can be different, like act like they're different, as far as they're not. And this is kind of tricky,
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That's deep. Oh my God. Yeah, this is crazy. But yeah, can't comment on that. That's personal.
Yeah, but whoever, you need to know when whoever the comment is coming from, they have problem with themselves. You don't judge things in that. You only judge things in the way you are, judging a child. That person needs to do some work on themselves. But yes, and then we have, YouTube, we have society itself, we have all these channels. Parenting is not easy anymore because every channel is a parent.
Yeah, but that's the same with a lot of, that's why I was saying, becoming a parent might be the most spiritual experience ever, because it's constantly telling you to be present, and if you keep not being present, it's like you're adding more resistance, and like fantasies are built around things, and then falsehoods. What I'm trying to get at is that yeah, maybe I was going to ask you about this, like culture, like the YouTube thing, everything we were talking about, the people like putting images on your kids, or like I wrote down this line, like your whole life disappear probably as a parent, and you have a choice. Either you become more mindful and aware, so align with Mother Earth, the flow of Mother Earth, or you go toward resistance and you want something specific, and you go with the culture that we are creating as a society. So I'm trying to ask that question. I don't know if it's fair to ask that question. Is that, as a parent, are you always battling between choosing culture versus nature? Do you know what I mean? Like, do we, like, because naturally, like, we have the answers. We are all like with the answers, but then we keep looking for books and answers, and then other people are saying this thing and that thing. Isn't it culture a little bit of like a difficult conflict for a parent?
It is. Absolutely. Not only culture, you can live in a society with different cultures in it.
Yeah. Even in the house, probably.
In the house, you have a culture, you go out, you have another one, you're watching TV, it depends on what you're allowed to watch. What is it you normally watch in the house?
Yeah.
Your children is just imitating what they see. If you look at your child and they're watching something and it's not aligned with your values, and you say, hey, that's not aligned with our values in this house. You told them one time, you won't see it another time, right? So that's like creating a culture inside the house. That's the culture that aligns with you, right? So whatever that comes on YouTube, whatever that your child is watching on the phone or tablets, you can monitor that according to your own energy. Depending on how you are aligned, that's how you will align everything else around you. So if you're not
one size, there's not like, even if we're doing those sessions, there's never going to be a solution or a one size fits all type of like brainstorm session. Everybody has to create kind of their own energy and be joyful in it.
But most people will relate to the things when it comes to parenting, because we all experience almost the same things. We all experience almost the same guilt, around things. So a lot of parents will relate to everything. But this is how I would say it, okay? So look at, for example, when you're flying to another country, Fabi, you fly a lot, right? So you hear the flight attendant when they're always demonstrating how to put on your mask, how to, when the oxygen thing drops down and everything, how they demonstrate, you hear them, right? Every time, make sure that you listen to when they say, if you are traveling with the child, put your own mask first. You have to put your own you have to put your own mask first.
We should totally
a lot of parents would panic if something happened with the plane, and they will take the mask and put it on their child first. Because they want to save the child. But if you save the child and put the mask on the child and you run out of oxygen, the child is not going to pick up the mask and put it on you. So you need to know who to put first. When you put your mask first, even if your child faints, you can pick up the mask, put it on your child, because you have a common sense.
Yeah.
You see? So when it comes to parenting,
emotion is really what we all must work on, because they can make us do things that are completely
ridiculous, right? Yeah, like that. You would just die because you think you're saving your child. But it's the same thing that goes on in a normal day-to-day parenting. They always put the mask on their child and then they start fainting because of life will hit you. If you think about, oh my God, I need to get my child this expensive shoes because everybody in school has it, and my child is going to feel this. Instead of taking your child to a nature therapy weekend and aligning them with nature so they can feel, comfortable for the rest of their lives, you will rush to buy the shoes so they can just feel okay at school, instead of making them feel. You see what I'm saying? So it's a different decisions that we make every day, that if it was, mask, we would all die, So those kind
we
of
don't
stuff
see it. We don't see it because it takes years. We never can see that. This is like a different scale, but like every little like decisions, every words that come out of someone's mouth, like it all adds up and creates something.
Yeah.
And it's not even words. Yeah, go ahead.
What I usually say to my kids, if he said something about being rich, I usually say being rich means that you are able to do whatever you want in your life. Then you are not stuck like a slave from 8 till 5 at your job. When you have friends, when you're happy, when you're healthy, and this means being rich, because many people have money and they feel miserable. That's what I always, when I hear, I always keep repeating the same and the same thing.
Because that way, you know the value is not in the money, but the value is within. Yeah. It's small things that we can teach, small little things,
Yeah. All right. So just to wrap up this this session and 5 minutes on the pranic living, maybe, because since we're the pranic family, like maybe some parents who are already pranic living might be wondering, about this session as well. I think one of the things that's cool about the family is that we sometimes feel isolated in whatever journey, and we always have our relatives, but we need those meetings sometimes to kind of like relate, and it supports us in decisions and everything. It creates confidence in a way in whatever we want to do, and that confidence also then we radiates that out to our relatives that are nearby. So I think in this group, probably there might be some parents who might be pranic, and there might be some parents who join us who are not necessarily on the pranic journey, but they want to transition toward like maybe healthier living. What does that mean? Do you think we're going to have some parts of like discussion about that too? Maybe, I don't know, in the coming weeks, or in terms of like, how can yourself be on a healthier path without forcing the
kids? It goes all
kids?
hand in hand, though.
Okay.
It all goes hand in hand. So let's say, if you want your child to imitate you on something, you will have to become that first, right? So let's say like me and my kid. Right now, I want to just, we woke up and I asked the child, oh, what do you want to do today? I give them the option to do whatever they want, but then I go on and stand outside and I do my qigong. Right? it's my thing. Then I will go outside and do my qigong, and then my child, like, I've asked them, what do you want to do already, right? I didn't tell them, come on do this qigong with me, right? But then I go on and I do my movements and my qigong, and then maybe I sit somewhere and maybe I drink my juice or something like that. I ask them, oh, do you they would ask me, they would also do the same thing, if maybe not qigong. Maybe they think like, okay, my mom just goes and do qigong in the morning when she wakes up. Let me do something else. When she's occupied with that, maybe I can occupy myself with something. So they will do something, whatever it is. Maybe it is playing, but they are with themselves, right? So that is a habit that's already created because they see me do that. And then I can come back and see if they want to do something. But I gave them the freedom to choose what they want to do because I've asked the question. So then I don't have to ask again, right? So, I want to do this, or I've already done. You see, I didn't say anything. I was just me.
Yes, but I think we need to remember that sometimes it can take 10 or 15 or 20 years.
Yes.
It doesn't appear right away. Like my mom was talking to me about gardening and I always hated. And suddenly...
Because she was talking to you about it.
No, she was actually doing it. She's a fan of gardening. And suddenly when I become 35, suddenly I start to do gardening with a passion, and before I just hate to listen about it. Yeah. It's we need to remember that the seeds what we plant, sometimes it doesn't show up right away. It just come to subconsciousness and it come up in 10, 20 or 30 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think we need to let go, really, because like as long as we are joyful, like as long as you're doing your qigong outside and that makes you really happy, it's not necessarily that the kid is going to do qigong.
No,
What's
they don't
more
have
important is that the kid is going to find, he's going to see that you're trying to be, it's not like you're trying to, you're going to see that you put joy first for yourself, and he's going to want to do that in his own way. And that might not be, and it might not be qigong at all, which is fine.
It may not be, it's not that I want it to be qigong either. It's like, find your own joy.
Yeah.
What makes you, I'm not saying come and do qigong with me because that's my niche. That's what I have found.
Yeah, but the problem is, what if you do qigong or your joy and your kids is always disturbing you to do your joy?
Oh, but it's a mindset. No, it's a mindset to feel like you're disturbed. So if I'm doing qigong and the child comes there, you know, and wants to do something, it doesn't mean it's a disturbance. It becomes
Like,
disturbance because of you think it is.
yeah, but I cannot do my movements if he hands on my arm or something, you know.
Yes, it's just, if you just ignore it sometimes, and then let them, it depends on how small the child is. If it's like a 5-year-old, 4-year-old, and then hanging on you and stuff, don't even make it so serious, because when you make it serious, that's when they want to do it again. Don't make it so serious. Oh, okay, you want to be here, you want to do my movements, stand right here.
Yes, yesterday I was practicing piano with my 8 years old, and while I'm practicing, my 5 years old make a mess in my room. He went to the Christmas bag, which was 2 tablets. Somebody present us 2 tablets, which I wanted to return because I already have 2 tablets. And it was $100 bill in this. So he ripped up a box. I wanted to bring it back. Thanks God they accepted it. He with rip up box. While I was practicing with Leo, he rip up this box. He lose this money. I never could find after it where this money was go. Sometimes you cannot do joy because they can just.
Oh, you can laugh about it. It's like, I think you can laugh about it. Like, seriously, it's this. I don't want to say that, but I know I was talking about like something that had nothing to do with parents at the beginning. I was talking about like disease, like my HIV or whatever. Sure, in the moment, you might not be laughing about it because it takes a lot of practice to start laughing about things. But when I had my HIV and the diagnosis, it was like, okay, a big bomb dropped on you. Now, after the years has passed and I've looked at the pranic journey and other things, I'm laughing at it. It was like, it's a beautiful, and the more and more I work on myself, like I said to you last time, like when I was in Costa Rica and I cut myself, like the more I start like hurting myself or feeling, I start catching myself like creating my own drama, and I laugh about it pretty quickly. But it's always us, creating this
You will
drama.
find that money the day you need it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, it's right here. And another thing you need to think about is like when this child did that, they didn't do it from a place of, bad intention.
Yeah.
They were just being a child, and then the situation annoys you because of you didn't want it to happen that way, So it always depends on how you handle the situation. You can tell them, sit them down and say, hey, I really needed this money, and this is the value it has for me, because we could have got this and I could have got that, and now you misplaced it, and now I can't find it. So next time when they see, they will know there is some value, it holds some value for you. So they will babysit that, they will put it aside for you. So it's a different way to approach it. But when you get mad, like, oh my God, now I've lost the money, I can't find it. When you do it that way, then the child don't know. They get scared. They know they did something wrong, but they don't know the value it holds for you, in a sense. You just put fear to it. But just let them know, because even if you scream or if you get frustrated, it's not going to bring back the dollars,
Yeah.
But you can tell them like, oh my God, that thing was the one that would buy you that thing. That's what I was going to get you, this thing, and now you misplaced it. I can't get you that.
Exactly. I love it.
Next
We'll
time
have
when
to
they
wrap
see
it
it, they'll
up.
be like, okay, yes, that's my candy, that's my thing. So it's a different approaches.
We have to wrap it up because the alkaline juice challenge, but
oh my goodness, yes.
I'll be there.
So right now we have alkaline juice challenge.
Yeah, so I'll close this YouTube. We'll see you guys next week. If anybody on meetup.com or on the Pranic Family website, next week we'll have another one, and like each week we're going to try to have more parents join in and like have some kind of interaction, and also no judgment kind of like discussion. We'll probably have a little sharing moment, sharing circle where everybody can say things. Do you want to finish? Do you want to say a few words before we finish, Camila?
No, this was fun. I hope other parents can join next time and let's discuss the things that there are so many things that parents cannot talk about and they feel like they can't talk about. It's fine. Come on, bring it all in. We can talk about it.
All right. So